All Blacks in Namibia, folks, this weekend from Toulouse. Rugby World Cup's getting back underway. We're going to go through some squads, predictions, stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on how we're going to go. I'm going to try and keep it quick because my kids have infected me with whatever bug they picked up at school, so I've been sneezing like a madman. I'll try not to sneeze and sniff all over you guys for the next few minutes. But, yeah, a little bit of history between Namibia and the All Blacks. They've been regular opponents at World Cups, featuring in 2019 where it was 71 points to 9, and 2015 where it was 58-14. And with the Italians beating Namibia 50-8 last week, one would think the Namibians are kind of looking to, I guess, enjoy the occasion as much as they can. And in terms of the scoreboard, maybe a bit of damage limitation. They'll certainly be looking to tackle a bit better than they did last week. They were exposed a few times by what is a pretty attacking-minded Italian side. The All Blacks, coming off that disappointing game against the French, will obviously be looking to get things on more of a positive note. It's the first time we look at a second match in a pool stage at a World Cup where the All Blacks are none from one. So that is a different feeling. The Namibians have kept their squad pretty stable from the one that played against Italy last week. They've swapped their loose head props over from the bench and the starters. Jaarsveld continues on a hooker. Coetzee is still the tight head prop. Retief moves into the second row from loose forward. Prince Gaoseb, who was on the bench for the last one and made 11 from 13 tackles against Italy, comes into the starting lineup. He's going to need to tackle the house down against the All Blacks, one would think. Too many of the Namibian guys had like negative or very high missed tackle counts last week. So for a guy to go 11 from 13 was pretty good. Hardwick still there at number 8. He beat 5 defenders against the Italians, so was one of the more effective ball carriers. Although when asked to take a line-out throw, didn't go that well when Jaarsveld was in the bin. You know, having your number 8 take the line-out throw and essentially giving it to the Italians to score a try was unfortunate. Stevens and Swanepoel continue on at 9 and 10. Swanepoel's got a big boot on him. Remember, he ran 70 metres last week against Italy too, but the big boot you feel is going to be the important part, and they've brought in Cliven Loubser at 15. I've seen him play in the MLR, I believe, as a 10 for Utah. So he is also more of a kind of goal-kicking guy, big boot guy. So the fact that they've got Swanepoel and Loubser in the starting lineup may indicate they're looking to kick the leather off the ball and maybe not engage the All Blacks as much in a running game. Deysel's there at 13. He's the captain. He scored against the All Blacks before back in 2015. Offloaded 3 times last week. Malan comes off the bench to start. Divan Rousseau switches to the left wing from fullback. And Mouton, the try scorer from last week, still there on the right wing. So like I said, it's pretty stable. And they'll need to be defensively more sound than the team which missed 42 tackles against Italy. Because if you miss 42 tackles against the All Blacks, you may even concede more than the 52 you did against Italy. For the All Blacks, they've changed half the team, man. And it kind of makes sense because, you know, they've got a little bit of game time now to kind of rotate the squad. With the French game out the way, the Italian game still on the horizon, so they're giving some minutes to some different guys. Tuangafasi, Taukei'aho, and Laulala, so only Laulala keeps his spot from last week. Lomax is still not available with that cut to the leg. Tuangafasi and Taukei'aho will be looking to dominate alongside Laulala at scrum time. It's an area the All Blacks didn't really dominate against the French, but the French pack is going to be a different story from the Namibian one, obviously. Retief is up from the bench to start. Remember, he wasn't even supposed to play last week. He was a late addition with Sam Cane's injury. Whitelock is going to equal Richie McCaw's test record at, I think, 148. So big congratulations to him. It's a massive achievement before he hangs up the international boots. Jacobson's up from the bench at 6. Papali'i still continues on at 7. Adi Savea captains the side from number 8. Remember, Sam Cane with his back issue is not available. Cam Roigard and D-Mac, that's your 9-10 combo. That's very exciting. I think a lot of us would have liked to have seen Cam Roigard get a crack from the bench last week, but they went with Finlay Christie. Real good running game on him if you haven't seen him play. Really, really dangerous. Scored that one great try against the Springboks in a pretty poor All Blacks effort, so it was one of the kind of few bright sparks from there. And then D-Mac, when he played from 10 against the Wallabies in Dunedin, you know, wasn't looking as sharp as maybe we've seen him play for the Chiefs this year, but gets another crack at 10 this week, so we'll see how he goes. ALB is at 13. He shifts from 12, and then Havili is up from the bench as well. Both those guys need a bit of game time. Caleb Clark in a kind of unfamiliar right wing spot. He's usually on the left, and then Fainga'anuku is on the left up from the bench. There's a duck outside. And then Bowden Barrett is at 15. Maybe that duck's not a big fan of Caleb Clark. But yeah, Beauden Barrett continues on after being at 15 last week as well. Coetzee comes in from the bench, to the bench. De Groot's down to the bench. Newell is there as well. That's your front row replacement. Scotty Barrett, who had a huge shift, is down to the bench this week. Vai is there as well after being number 6 last week. Aaron Smith, Richie Moong, and Rico Ioane, 3 starters from last week, drop to the bench. So like I said, man, it's a bunch of changes. Still no Geordie Barrett with his knee. Sam Cane with his back. Lomax with his gash to his leg. So yeah, the All Blacks are kind of having to manage some of the guys who are nursing kind of injuries. Stats wise, man, I mentioned the Namibians missed 42 tackles. Yeah, they're going to need to up that game. I mean, Tiaan Swanepoel, the 10, he's got a big boot, but he missed 7 tackles against Italy. I think he made 5. The All Blacks will have taken note. You can potentially expect some guys to be running down that number 10 channel. Whether they shift them to fullback to try and hide them on defence, I'm not sure. They conceded 3 tries in their last 10 minutes as well, so potentially a little bit of fitness as an issue for the Namibians too. The All Blacks against France kicked 39 times, which is way more than normal, and maybe was partially due to the fact they couldn't escape their own half in the second half, maybe with the weather. But yeah, the All Blacks usually only kick like 24 times on average. To go 39 was way more than normal, so we could probably expect against Namibia to see a little bit more ball in hand. And they only offloaded 7 times against France, whereas it's been 11 on average all year. So yeah, maybe a little bit more conservative, but again, with the conditions being as hot as it was, it has been tough. The scrum will need to be sharper for sure. And if we look back to 2019, against Namibia, for you guys playing fantasy, they scored 8 tries through the backs. So maybe expect the All Blacks, including that 1-1 to TJ Perenara at the end. Yeah, maybe expect some of the All Blacks outside backs to run in some tries. We'll have to wait and see. Predictions-wise, the bookies have got the All Blacks by 72 points, which is a whopper. The rugby forecast a little bit more conservative, saying 59. But either way, this one is picked to be a bit of a rout. It is at Toulouse. Luke Pearce from England is the ref. It's a 9 p.m. local kickoff. So for those of us here in NZ, that would be 7 in the morning. So that's a pretty decent time. Works out pretty well. Windhoek is a Namibian beer, which is on this jersey right here. If you want to check out when I tried some Chinese beer when I was back in China at the beer museum, check that out up in the corner. It was a weird place. When you think beer museum, I guarantee you're not thinking of the place that I went to. It was very bizarre. I'm going to go outside and see what that duck is up to. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game. How do you reckon this is going to go? And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.